Tommy Norris did not leave M-Tex quietly. There was no farewell tour, no slow exit into the quiet dust of West Texas. His departure was sudden and brutal. He was fired, pushed out of the very company he had helped hold together for years with experience, instinct, and relationships that ran deeper than contracts. The moment that door closed behind him, something changed across the Permian Basin. Inside M-Tex, many believed they had solved a leadership problem. In reality, they had just created the most dangerous competitor they could possibly face. Tommy Norris was never the kind of man who simply walks away. He is the kind of man who leaves, builds something stronger, and comes back ready to challenge everything that forced him out. That is exactly the storm forming now. What started with a termination is turning into a full-scale corporate war between M-Tex Oil and the newly formed CTT Oil Exploration and Cattle. Two companies now stand on opposite sides of the same basin, each determined to shape the future of the oil industry in West Texas. The moment that changed everything came when Cammy Miller looked Tommy Norris in the eye and said the words that shattered their partnership: "You're fired." 3 words that instantly shifted the power structure of an entire region. To many inside M-Tex, it seemed like a calculated leadership decision, a move meant to push the company toward a new strategic direction. But the reality was far more complicated. Tommy Norris was not just a president sitting behind a desk. He was the living memory of Texas operations. He knew every land deal, every quiet agreement with ranchers, every operational weakness hidden behind the company's polished corporate image. When Cammy fired him, she didn't just remove an executive. She sent a man with unmatched knowledge of the company's internal machinery out into the world with nothing left to lose and everything to prove. That single decision transformed an internal disagreement into the beginning of an external battle. Tommy did not disappear after that firing. In fact, he moved faster than anyone expected. Almost immediately, he began laying the foundation for something new, something built not just to survive but to challenge the very company that had forced him out. That company became CTT Oil Exploration and Cattle. Even the name carries weight. It signals legacy, family, and a kind of personal investment that large corporate structures like M-Tex can never fully replicate. CTT was not designed as a small independent drilling outfit trying to survive on the edges of the industry. It was built as a direct counterweight to M-Tex itself. Tommy surrounded himself with people he trusted completely, people who understood the industry from the inside, because they had lived inside it for years. Cooper Norris stepped in as president, anchoring the company's leadership with the Norris name itself. Rebecca Falcone took control of operations and legal strategy, ensuring that every move CTT made would be both aggressive and carefully protected. TL handled drilling operations, bringing technical expertise that would allow the company to move quickly without sacrificing precision. Nate, the financial mind who once helped stabilize M-Tex's books, now manages the financial structure of CTT with a kind of discipline that keeps a fast-moving company from collapsing under pressure. And Boss leads the field crews, the men and women who actually bring oil out of the ground and turn strategy into reality. What makes CTT so dangerous is not just the experience of the people inside it, but where that experience came from. Every one of them learned their craft inside the same system they are now preparing to challenge. They understand the processes, the blind spots, the delays that happen inside large corporate structures. They know how M-Tex thinks because they helped build the systems that shaped those decisions. That knowledge gives CTT an advantage that money alone cannot buy. M-Tex still has massive financial resources, infrastructure, and long-standing industry partnerships, but scale comes with weight. Decisions inside a giant corporation move slowly through layers of approval, legal review, and investor expectations. CTT moves differently. When Tommy sees an opportunity, he does not need 3 committees and a week of meetings. He makes a call, and the work begins. In the oil industry, where drilling windows close quickly and land deals can vanish overnight, that speed can change everything. Another factor adding fuel to this growing conflict is the involvement of Dan Galino. His financial backing gives CTT access to the capital it needs to move aggressively from the start. But Galino's presence also raises the stakes. He is not known as a passive investor who waits patiently for results. His money comes with expectations, and those expectations push companies to move quickly and decisively. That pressure creates a level of urgency that can turn a young company into a formidable competitor almost overnight. For Tommy Norris, that urgency is not a burden. It is motivation. Every well drilled, every lease secured, every deal closed is another step toward proving that the company which fired him made the worst strategic mistake in its history. Meanwhile, inside M-Tex, the situation has become far more complicated than Cammy Miller originally expected. After Tommy's departure, she attempted to stabilize the company by offering the president's role to Nate. He declined the offer. Soon after, he resigned entirely. That decision created ripples far beyond the walls of the boardroom. Investors began asking questions. Longtime partners started wondering whether the leadership inside M-Tex was as stable as it once seemed. In industries like oil, perception matters almost as much as reality. When a company loses two key leaders in quick succession, people start paying attention. Landowners considering drilling leases begin to wonder if another company might be more reliable. Equipment suppliers consider where their long-term relationships will be most secure. And standing just outside that uncertainty is a new company led by the man who once solved every problem M-Tex faced. Cammy Miller now finds herself leading a powerful company through one of the most unstable periods in its history. She is not a villain, despite how some people may frame the story. Her decision to fire Tommy Norris was not driven by ego or personal resentment. It was a strategic call based on her belief that M-Tex needed to move in a different direction. Leaders at that level are forced to make difficult decisions every day, and sometimes those decisions carry consequences no one can fully predict. Cammy believed the company needed unity in its leadership and a clear vision for the future. What she did not fully anticipate was that removing Tommy would create a rival with unmatched insight into M-Tex's inner workings. Now the two of them stand on opposite sides of an industry they once shaped together. Cammy is trying to hold a corporate giant steady while rebuilding its leadership structure and protecting its reputation. Tommy is building something faster, leaner, and fueled by the determination to prove that he never should have been forced out in the first place. Both of them understand the other completely. They know each other's instincts, strengths, and weaknesses. That familiarity makes the conflict even more intense because neither side is fighting in the dark. They know exactly who they are up against. What is unfolding now is not a simple rivalry between two oil companies. It is a battle between two visions of how the industry should operate. One built on scale, structure, and corporate power. The other built on speed, loyalty, and experience forged in the field. The Permian Basin has always been a place where fortunes are made and lost quickly, where companies rise and fall depending on a handful of critical decisions. And right now, two leaders who once worked side by side are preparing to test which vision will define the next chapter of that history. The war between M-Tex and CTT did not start with a drilling dispute or a financial deal. It started with a pink slip. And the man who received that pink slip remembers every detail of the company that handed it to him.